Netflix partnered with Blumhouse to bring the original Undead series Betaal to its streaming platform. So let's do a quick check of the necessities. Zombies? Check. A short series for quick binging? Check. A decent story with some good terror? Well... A highway in India is attempting to be built in a rural area that will bring commerce and advances to the region. A long-sealed tunnel needs to be unblocked for progress to be made, but the locals won't allow that to happen because of a supposed curse that lives in the tunnel. Trouble strikes as the tunnel is excavated. A mid-1800s battalion of undead soldiers with the East India Trading Company breaks free and begins to wreak havoc. Now, this is a campy series with a fair amount of emotions and a bunch of overacting. But surprisingly, it's kind of fun too. I think this is going for the horror aspect. I mean, you have the undead forces, you have all of these really dark buildings, these creepy settings, and then just the impending threat which adds urgency to the entire story. But I didn't ever really get the sense of horror, or even terror for that matter. Now, they did get the gore part right. Now, the makeup and the special effects in this, especially for the undead, feel like I'm watching Thriller, you know, with Michael Jackson, except with a lower makeup budget. Now, I do applaud them for using practical effects because you can see what they're trying to do. And some of it does work. Other parts of it, though, just come across really cheesy and fake and almost laughable, which then breaks you out of any suspense or any just not really terror, because it's not terrifying, it's not scary, but maybe just some thrills and chills that could be building. The look of some of the zombies and the undead soldiers, it's laughable. Several of the actors are fun and I really enjoyed their performances. I mean, you can see how they're conflicted, how sometimes they're scared, they're angry. I mean, just all of those heightened emotions that they are on edge, they are in a battle for survival, and that comes across fairly well. Occasionally, though, the actions of the soldiers, especially in this, they don't make any sense. I mean, they know what the threat is, they see what it does to people, and then they don't make decisions based on those things. In the end, I mean, it would save them just a ton of headache and strife and everything, but you just see how, golly, you're just kind of dumb in this situation. And over here, you don't hesitate at all, but when it comes to this, let's wait and see. Now, there's also some very odd dialogue choices. Now, I'm willing to admit that maybe that's just the subtitling, that maybe it's a lost in translation type of thing, that maybe some of the word choices that come across as it's being translated into English didn't work as well, or there wasn't as a direct correlation. So, and I don't speak Hindi, so I can't tell what they're actually saying. So I'm just having to go truly based on the subtitles. But there's one part in particular where a villager is hanging out of a vehicle shooting a gun. And she is shouting a lot of things that made me laugh because they feel wildly out of place. Like, I never got the sense that she would be doing this, first off, just her actions, but then saying the things that she's saying just came across very laughable, very funny. Now, if they were going for comedy, then it worked because it did make me chuckle. I didn't get the sense, though, that that's what they were trying to do, that this was a serious moment, that there was urgency to what they were doing, there was a time limit, and it was tense for their situation. But how it came across the screen to me was just kind of kooky. I really do like parts of the narrative in this, how they utilize the consciousness of the undead soldiers and the ramifications that that has on everybody involved. I don't believe that I've ever seen it used this way in any type of zombie themed show or movie. And so the novelty that they employ in this, I really appreciate. It's very clever and it's thinking outside the box and it translates really well and it makes that part of the story kind of cool. Now, this is a very quick watch. I mean, it is only 4 episodes long. They're about 45 minutes and they move pretty quickly. While some of the lines leading up to the climax are cheesy and maybe a little laughable, overall the tension that began to be built towards the end was a lot of fun. I like that they revealed some secrets that put a little twist on things, and then when we get to the very end of the show, I really liked how they did that. Now, I can see that they could set it up for a second season, but I hope they don't. I hope, though, that they just let it fester in our minds with our own creativity, our own internal vision of how things end up. I mean, they give us a platform to launch from, and so then let us just take it from there. Despite the camp and the cheese in it, It's fairly enjoyable, and I do appreciate some of the freshness that they bring to some of the parts of the story. Plus, then you throw in the small amount of episodes and the short watch time, and it makes it an easy, enjoyable binge. There's no sex or nudity, there is some profanity, and a ton of violence and gore. I give Betaal 3 out of 5 couches. So what is your favorite zombie-themed show or movie? Is there one that you've been watching lately, or is there one that you always go to? Whatever that is, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for catching with me.